Welcome everyone, this is Tim Pullman and you're listening to the SEP Couch. This podcast is all about standard essential patents. We talk about patent strategies, friend licensing, patent pooling, and patent litigation. So let's dive into today's episode. And welcome everyone to the SEP Couch. She is the Chief Intellectual Property Officer and Senior VP of Licensing at Orange. We have here today Lyse Brillouet. Thank you so much for joining the SEP Couch. Hi, Lyse.
Hi, Tim. Thank you for having me.
So happy to talk to you today. And as always, on my SEP Couch, I'm starting with understanding more the person, Lyse, who you are, your career, and how you got into the position of caring about intellectual property, SEP licensing, and the world that we all care about so much.
Okay, so first pleasure is mine to be with you today. So my background is not an IP background, not a legal background. I'm graduated from a business school, and then I made an additional courses of telecommunications engineering. And I joined the group in which I did most of my career. In 2014, I became the head of research for Digital Society, so a research domain with more than 100 researchers dedicated to smart cities, healthcare, education, automotive subjects. And then in 2017, at the end of the year, I've been nominated Chief IP Officer for the group. And it has been very natural, I would say, for the group to nominate someone coming from the innovation management environment and not from the legal or strictly IP environment. Especially probably to bring additional culture in the team and also to open the team in the way it interacted with the other part of the groups externally, really probably to change a little bit the practices of our IP department. So this is a short story about me and why I'm here today.
That's great. Thank you, Lyse, for understanding that. And I find that very interesting because also I think that it's more and more what I see in our industry that people perceive IP more as an opportunity, as an asset, you as a business person, rather than a legal person would maybe see it as a liability, right? And I think that, as you said, cultural change or that cultural influence on an IP department can make a big influence. Let's talk a little bit about Orange. And, Orange has been for years, decades, in the world of SEP licensing. I once remember myself, I did a study on patent pools, and Orange was the company that joined most pools. So the pool leader, like you joined, or Orange joined a lot of pools. I mean, that study is like 10 years ago. Still, I think you are joining many pools. You are very actively licensing. Still, however, Orange has $1 billion business, right, with services in the carrier industry. So IP as a topic within Orange, how do you make sure within, this large organization that has so many other revenue streams that IP, especially monetization of IP, becomes heard in the boardroom, becomes important, because obviously it's not only about the revenue streams here, it's also, especially for SEP standardization and everything. How do you communicate there with the leaders of Orange?
Oh, so there are so many to say and to share about this. First of all, I would say that we are a technology company. So we spend a ton of times and resources on striving to deliver new technologies to our customers and to make their people lives and to make people's lives easier, right? So it is really part of our culture to build new technologies and especially to invest in open technologies to ensure that the majority of the public will able to access to these new technologies. So the way we practice our intellectual property is really a mirror of this ambition. I mean that, first of all, we are able in our group to combine different kinds of strategies when it comes to deliverable. So we're able to capture the most valuable innovation and file patents. We are able also to participate in open source projects. We are able to co-innovate with our big customers. So we use really a large range of tools to create these new services and these new technologies. So intellectual property, I mean patents or proprietary software, is one of these instruments. And for the board, it's really important to maintain this balance in the way we create our services and products, and also to protect the IP, because the IP is probably the most visible part of the value created by the company, especially because there's a lot of rankings regarding patents, so it's really important. It's something that helps the company to be vocal also on standards. So it is not so complicated to make sure that the board is really attentive to IP in such a company as ours. Not all our portfolio is related to SEPs, and it is also part of the probably success of our IP strategy. I mean that we are not locked into a system of only standards and SEP. We are really open to the whole activity of our company. So our patents portfolio is really covering all the different domains, all our different core businesses, all our divisions, all our customers' needs. And also it is really linked to how we are going to create expertises into our company, and not only to concentrate our efforts on SEPs because it is resonating somewhere with future monetization. So our IP strategy is extremely wide and really cover from how to demonstrate our innovation capabilities to how we support our daily operations wherever and whatever they are.
Interesting. Thank you for that overview. And it makes sense. Orange has a wide field of how IP is used. And yeah, understood that it's not only monetization. IP has so many values or so many ways of how you can use such an asset. But let's think about, or you are also the chief licensing officer. When it is about licensing, you are, as a company who also, of course, implements technologies, also on the licensee side of things, while, of course, with your patent portfolio, also a licensor and member of many pools. We talked about it. Can you give us some background of how that is, first of all, operationalized? Like, do you have different teams for licensing out or licensing in? You know, how do you manage and balance interest here? Because, of course, you may have different interests when being a licensor and a licensee.
Mm-hmm. Of course, so I can give you some insights, even if I'm not going to fully open the door of our organization, because it is probably part of our competitiveness. So, but just to as an insight, right? We first have a huge in-house team as well for patents, legal, and licensing. So it creates a unique opportunity to manage our IP subjects from a unique perspective. We're organized as a business unit, so it gives us a lot of autonomy. Also, it ensures a lot of consistency between activities, from our filing strategy to our monetization strategy, and also in the way we ensure the defense of the interests of the group, because we all know that there is a lot of trials, and it is quite aggressive sometimes in this area. For licensing in and licensing out, it is different responsibilities, because the way to address these two topics is very, very different. But in any case, all the different teams cooperate together. There is no silos in our organization. And really, I'm pretty confident that it is probably part of our success, and also part of the quality of the image and the perception we're able to deliver to the board, coming back to your previous question. So it's very important. If I come back also to your question about patent pools, or our place in the ecosystem, because we're a technology company, very, very early in our process, we integrate the interest of delivering for companies a very easy stop and go for getting licenses on the technologies. This is why probably, even if we are in many patent pools, for some of them, we are founder of these patent pools. We are really, we are trying always to be at the forefront of the patent pools by suggesting topics on which we estimate there is something to create and to gather, or to join very early initiatives because we think it's the right time to invest. So we are, in addition to our licensing traditional activities, we allocate part of our resources to invest with other partners to create favorable conditions for companies to access to the technologies. And this is probably also why we're successful, because we really consider a kind of 360 degree analysis before the full adoption of a technology. And very early in the process, we are able to detect problems to solve, or additional partners to ask to join, blah, blah, blah. So it is really the way we work, because we have this intimacy within our group between research, standards, and IP. It creates unique conditions to play our role as a licensor.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I always keep hearing that joining a patent pool is not only about monetization of IP, it's about accelerating access to the technology. And I can very understand that maybe that is even more important than the revenue that comes in. I mean, that is something you probably have to report back as a success to, that you monetize your IP, but giving access to the market and that one-stop shop is of course, or I guess then more important for you.
Or it is a balance.
Or it's a balance.
And also because the technologies we're contributing to, also they are part of the competitiveness of our whole business, because most of the time, why we are contributing to a standard, because we estimate it will empower us to be more efficient, to deliver more for less, etc. So it is very important also because it's part of the way we are going to create the best conditions of operating our group.
That makes sense. When talking about patent pools, I think I'm an economist, and I actually, as an economist, you only mostly see very positive effects from a patent pool. But operationally, I think talking to so many experts, it's also challenging. I mean, setting up one contract that all the members are agreeing to, some revenue sharing rules. So as a founding member of many pools, as a member of many pools, can you elaborate what are the typical challenges that you have to deal with when getting people in, other patent owners with a similar mindset as you, as Orange, because your company culture I very well understand, but others have other company cultures and other ideas, or their boards have other ideas. Can you elaborate a little bit on the process founding a patent pool? How can it be successful? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure. So first is, most of the time we say, oh, there is a patent pool, but the fact is that patent pools are all different. So there is a lot of models, even if each time it is a way to deliver a one-stop shopping for companies, but the contract, the conditions, the partners, technology, everything most of the time is really different. And also because it is a kind of model, one size fits all, it is sometimes, as you've said, complicated because you have to accept compromises on many things. And probably the very first thing on which you accept a compromise is probably to earn less money. And it is part of the culture of the company. You're right. Because accepting to be paid less, finally, has to be balanced by something. It could be balanced by operational efficiency, because this standard is important for you. It could be balanced by also the services you're going to deliver to the public more rapidly than estimated before. You could balance this with many things, but it is also linked to the role you have on the market. And as you've said, we are either a patents maker and also an implementer. So it is for us not so hard to find the right balance and to accept compromises. Perhaps for other company could be more tricky, of course. But in any case, I think it's really a good formula to have a very comprehensive licensing environment and to make it attractive. To make it attractive for companies, and so at the end of the day for customers, consumer, and it is also big roots. We are a huge company. We operate our services at a worldwide level, so we need really robust instruments to make sure it is clear, it is fast, it is affordable, and it is efficient. And probably patent pools are the best solutions ever we have seen in this licensing landscape. Because even if we have some companies making their licensing by their own today, we all know that they require huge teams to do so. And to be able to do that, you need to be extremely rich finally. You need a lot of resources, a lot of money. I think that for a company as Orange, it could be inaccessible to do so because we have many challenges to face. We have 235 million customers to serve. And this is where in our IP strategy, we have to be reasonable and try to make the best trade-off between the resources we can allocate to our IP strategy and how to really leverage from existing solutions. And really, patent pools are the best solution ever we've seen on this market once again. That's why we are very supportive. That's why we have most of the time founder or co-founder of these patent pool with agents. Even if we have refreshed also our strategy, and when some situations are blocked, we don't hesitate to value directly our patents. But it is really for a selective subjects and situations. It is not our core activity for licensing.
That means, just to understand, that in some exceptional cases, you would also license bilaterally, or?
Exactly.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, as I said, our data also says Orange is the pool member champion out there. And I think looking at the past 3 years, how many pool programs are set up and, published and launched into the market also, shows, the great success, also especially for tackling some of the recent challenges. And I'll come to these challenges, but maybe also one more question about Orange and how you make sure that your IP is protected. Because when looking at the IPlytics data, for example, Orange is one of the strongest contributors of technologies like 5G. So in the standardization development world, you go to most meetings, you submit, I think you're in the top 20 of the 5G contributions. And that is, of course, not always related to IP. Everyone who knows what standardization is for, it's not only, to get patents into a standard, but obviously for technologies like 5G, where it is just a patent-heavy space, I keep saying, that is part of the strategy, right? Part of the strategy to recoup some of your investments and, have your contributions also protected with SEPs. Do you have at Orange like a particular process for this, or is this more that you kind of have a patent board where the inventions are submitted and this could be somehow standard essential potentially? Is this very strategically pushed forward that you have and file SEPs, or is it more a natural product of your R&D development and standardization efforts?
It is more the second one. And also, I think that we are part of the players that respect one of the strongest model in LCP declarations. We are probably at the forefront of what the European Commission is thinking about when it comes to LCP regulation. And probably it is something not really, or it is something unreachable for companies offering thousands of ACP on a technology, because it could be probably too much expensive. I would say that our portfolios in these technologies are very strong, but they are reasonable. That's why we're investing for making them inventions recognized as essential. So there is really nothing hidden in our company when it comes to SEPs, and it is very important for us. It is very important for us not to fall in these bad tendencies of over declaration or saying or being extremely vocal, even if the standard is not fully written or well. So I think there is some bad habits in this field, even if globally we could say that things are going quite well. are well done with maturity and transparency, if we think at the ETSI base or something like this. But probably we are very, very exigent for ourselves. And probably sometimes it is not, we're not paying back in return, I would say, because we are probably sometimes too serious. But the way regulation is evolving is really in favor in the way we practice today. So it makes us comfortable, much more comfortable. And so it is the way it is. After all, I think that really for us, once again, we're a technology company. So when we contribute to standards, to standardization, our main purpose is not to push patents in these standards, is really to create a standard, because this standard is important and core for managing our networks, delivering our services to our customers. So it is really a balance. It is not a unique road for future monetization.
Very good. And that is actually also what we can read in the data list, just to let you know that you are a strong contributor, but you're more conservative with your declarations. I think that's what you were saying, that, you know, just for the listeners, one idea of that EU regulation is to have a database of true SEPs. And you're saying you are maybe already having a database of true SEPs looking at the Orange declaration. So that's an interesting point. And, you know, also interesting to see that, as you say, regulation worldwide will probably go into that direction, that, you know, companies are or need to be more serious about those declarations, representing what they actually own as essential. But well understood. Also, I think it makes a lot of sense to me, combined with your strategy of open innovation and a technology company, that standards matter for many reasons. IP is just one part of it. That makes a lot of sense to me. And another topic, and you touched on this a little bit already, but our world is changing, right? I mean, I think 10 years ago, SEP licensing in particular was straightforward. You know, there was I would say, limited number of companies who owned these patents, a limited number of industries that would use that standards. But now we have, of course, with the Internet of Things, and, you know, vehicles integrate cellular technologies and other connectivity technologies, but also now IoT devices. Smart metering is coming up, smart tracking is coming up. We have other industries suddenly that have never been exposed with that before. So what is your perspective of that? From your point and perspective, is that for Orange only an opportunity, but do you also see challenges, especially with IP coming up? How has the world changed in the past years?
Mm-hmm. You're right. It is really something that changes the environment and the way to work, probably. And probably it requires collaborative capabilities, and also some changes in the IP culture in our telecommunications or digital industry, but also in the other industries. What I've observed at the very beginning of the 5G story is that the way we work in the telecommunication environment has been pushed back by automotive companies, saying, this is the way you practice, but I'm not interested in understanding why you're doing this way, and I don't want to follow your rules, and I don't want to pay for your IP. Things have changed a lot, even if the dialogue sometimes remains difficult. But I would say that, first of all, the digital industry did a huge effort to make people understand that these technologies has been issued by many contributions without at the first stage any payback. So I think it's important because this capability to create common asset and make them accessible for everyone, it's really something unique and different from other industries. Second, I think that the industry, when we talk about automotive or IoT or smart metering, they have realized finally the value created by inserting digital solutions in their own solutions and products. Now we estimate that 30% of a core of the value of a core is provided by the digital services embedded in the core, for example. So it is not only to fit a EU request on delivering a push-to-talk in the car by inserting just a chipset to make sure that you're able to make a call. It is much more about the quality of the management of the car, blah, blah, blah. So many things, entertainment, continuity between your phone and your car. So many services, very smart, very useful, either for the customer and for the automotive company, that no one can say, oh, we don't want to really use your technology. It is absolutely critical and it's becoming part of their core business. So I think that now they are more open to consider to pay a little bit for that, and probably the success of Avanci has a patent pool, selling licenses around technologies for the automotive industry is really an evidence of this understanding of the automotive industry. It is a part of the route, but probably we are still in the middle of the road, and we have to do more. Because we are talking about SEPs, but I think that there are many other patents fields in which we could bring value to automotive companies. Especially entertainment, displays, many things, not necessarily or strictly related with standards. And I think that we have also to heard the requests from these industries to make things more transparent, more easy to work with, easiest to navigate in. We have to really fine-tune this and once again find the right compromise to make everyone more or less happy with the situation. So it has been like a battle. Now I think that we are at the first step of compromise, but probably we could do more in order to much more collaborate instead of having two different systems in silos trying to make some bridges, really. And because it's interesting. It's interesting. And when I look at the different research programs we have with automotive industry, smart metering industry, IoT industry, we are doing so much with these companies in the way we are doing our research. So there is no reasons it couldn't be able to deliver new sets, more common, more collaborative.
And you think, if you think about smart metering, will we have to expect that somehow the history repeats and they will be, not accepted, not acceptive at the beginning? We may even see litigation again. until a pool program, there are, now Avanci has one, Sysla has another one. We have those pool programs are accepted in the wider market.
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course.
Yeah, so that there's not yet a learning curve across industries where we could expect.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
It's on its way.
Yeah, it's always good. I mean, and it makes sense. I mean, I think standards by definition are all about collaboration. I found it always interesting that IP by definition is the opposite, right? You kind of like keep others from doing things.
Yes, but not in the digital
right.
environment. It's so special. You're fully right, but it's so special in this industry.
Yeah, and that makes it so exciting because it's somehow the traditional idea of IP clashes a bit, but now you say truly that's not true anymore. IP is an asset that just gives you a way to formalize maybe your collaboration, and that's maybe a better perspective on it. But great, thank you so much for these insights. And last but not least, because you talked about so many great things that you do at Orange, you're at the forefront of a member and founder of pools, of helping our economy and IP world to be more efficient. But now, for some, apparently, policymakers, that wasn't enough. And I keep saying I have a very neutral mind about it. There is a current proposal. There was even a first vote in favor of that proposal of the EU Commission to regulate. And I try to always separate a bit the discussion because there's one big proposal that has many different aspects. So maybe start with, and I think that's one that you already kind of touched upon, the transparency part of it. The idea to have a database on top or next to ETSI that is, bringing in, approved, verified essential patents, not only for 5G, but across all standards. We know there are also many standards organizations that do not have a great database as ETSI. Most of the IP is missing there. Is that transparency aspect to you, does that make sense if it's well done? Or is that also critical because it could create too much cost for patent owners like yourself? What is your general opinion on that transparency aspect of the proposal?
Well, first, of course, we support the idea of the Commission, of the objective of the Commission to make things transparent and accessible for most of the companies. We think that over the years, the different players did huge efforts to make this transparent and to contribute to the ETSI database, for example. We think that it might be probably unreasonable to rebuild something for past standards because we have to look in front of us. We have to look to the future. And also because, as I've said in one of your questions before, we are probably not in a position to dedicate so much money to invest in this, and it could be probably something unfavorable for our activity, and probably not really feasible. The feasibility is really an issue. So the way we work on that is really to try to offer some complement to the regulation proposal, to make our different correspondents understand why it could be not really a good idea to replicate something existing already, or to apply this new regulation to past standards, and also to offer some good ideas to make things smarter, less expensive, more affordable, and so more feasible. So for sure, if we want things transparent, we need solutions and tools. We think that we have already some, probably to adjust, to complement a little bit. is it really required to rebuild everything for all the years in the past and in the future? No, we think it's not really reasonable. So really, we want to once again support the idea of being transparent, but we really want also to make things happen. And to make things happen, we need really to mobilize the good energy at the right level, at the right time, at the right place. This is what we are trying to make people understand on our side.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. Great, Lyse. That's really exciting. Lots of good insights into Orange, one of the largest carriers in the world. Lots of good insights into how an IP department, a licensing department, is run by you since so many years, very successfully. That was really great. I'm always ending this podcast to give you one final statement, one statement that you want our listeners to remember as somehow your pitch of our world of SEPs and SEP licensing and IP.
Okay. So I didn't prepare anything. So, but I would say that I think that the success of an IP department is really grounded by the balance of the different activities, and also the way you are fully integrated in the day-to-day business of your company. An IP department has not to be a side or marginal. It's really key to be accessible internally, accessible, of course, externally, but to be part of the business. It's very important to, and also to integrate into your IP department the skills needed to do so. So to interact with the other departments, so communication, marketing, so different kind of expertises that we're not thinking about naturally when it comes to IP, because we much think about patent attorneys or legal people or paralegal people, but really it's important to embed your activity in your company, and especially to think about how it brings value to your customers before thinking about ACP or valorization of SEPs.
Great. That was Lyse Brillouet, the Chief IP Officer at Orange. Thanks for listening in today. Thanks for having me, and thanks for being there, Lyse, and being open to all these great questions. I hear you soon, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Tim. Bye-bye.